Divine timing is one of the most powerful yet challenging concepts to embrace. We live in a world that thrives on urgency, where instant gratification is the standard and patience feels like a luxury we can't afford. When we want something, a relationship, a career breakthrough, a life-changing opportunity, we want it now. And when it doesn't come on our timeline, we start questioning everything. We question our worth, our abilities, and even God's plan. But what if the delay isn't denial? What if the wait isn't a punishment, but a preparation? There's an undeniable truth that becomes clear when we look back on our lives. Some of the things we desperately wanted at one point would have completely overwhelmed us if they had arrived too soon. That relationship we thought was the one, but ended in heartbreak. That job we were convinced would change our lives, but slipped through our fingers. Looking back, we can see why they didn't work out, but in the moment, the disappointment felt unbearable. That's the challenge of divine timing. It's only obvious in hindsight. Imagine planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust that with the right conditions, water, sunlight, time, it will break through the soil and bloom. The same principle applies to life. We plant seeds with our efforts, our prayers, our dreams, and then we struggle with the waiting. We want to see the results immediately, forgetting that growth happens in the unseen, beneath the surface. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean nothing is happening. One of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming that because something hasn't happened yet, it never will. We convince ourselves that maybe we're not meant for it, that maybe we misread the signs, that maybe we should lower our standards and settle. But settling out of impatience is one of the quickest ways to delay what's truly meant for you. When you force something before its time, you end up with something incomplete, something that lacks the strength to last. A fruit picked too early is bitter. A foundation built in a rush is unstable. Timing matters. It's easy to trust when things are happening quickly, when doors are opening effortlessly. The real challenge is maintaining that trust when everything feels still, when you're putting in the effort but nothing seems to be shifting. That's where most people give up. They assume the silence means absence, when in reality it's often the space where the most significant work is being done. A delay doesn't mean your blessing isn't coming, it means it's being perfected. We often look at others and wonder why they seem to be getting everything we're still waiting for. We compare our journey to theirs and assume we must be doing something wrong. But comparison is one of the greatest distractions from divine timing. What's meant for someone else is not meant for you, and what's meant for you, everyone's path is different, and trying to rush yours to match someone else's will only lead to unnecessary frustration. Sometimes the delay isn't about external circumstances, it's about internal readiness. We think we're prepared for what we're asking for, but if we were truly ready, we would already have it. Growth is often uncomfortable because it forces us to confront the gaps in our character, our mindset, our emotional maturity. The waiting season isn't just about time passing, it's about transformation. It's about becoming the person who can sustain the blessing once it arrives. Because getting what you want is one thing, keeping it is another. One of the hardest things to accept is that sometimes God holds things back not to punish us, but to protect us. What looks like a rejection may actually be a redirection. What feels like stagnation may be strategic preparation. We don't always see what's ahead, but He does. And when we trust that, we stop forcing, we stop chasing, we stop exhausting ourselves trying to make something happen on our timeline. Instead, we shift our focus to becoming. The truth is, divine timing requires surrender. It requires releasing the illusion of control and stepping into a place of faith. It doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means doing everything you can while trusting that the outcome is already handled. It means working on yourself, staying aligned with your values, and being open to the unexpected. Because sometimes what we think we want isn't nearly as good as what's actually coming. Preparation over desperation is one of the most defining factors in whether you truly align with what's meant for you. Too often people operate from a place of scarcity. feeling like if they don't grasp onto something immediately, they'll be left with nothing. This mindset leads to rushed decisions, forced relationships, and situations that feel good in the moment but unravel quickly because they weren't built on a solid foundation. When you operate from desperation, you send a signal that you don't truly believe something better is coming. But when you shift into a mindset of preparation, you acknowledge that what you desire is on its way, and your focus shifts from chasing it to becoming ready for it. Desperation causes people to accept less than what they deserve. It convinces them that having something, even if it's not right, is better than having nothing at all. This is why so many people stay in unfulfilling relationships, cling to jobs they hate, and entertain friendships that drain them. They fear the space that comes with waiting. But when you settle out of fear, you sacrifice the opportunity for something greater. You create a life built on compromise rather than confidence. Preparation, on the other hand, is about recognizing your worth and doing the inner work so that when the right opportunity or person comes along, you are not only ready to receive it, but also capable of sustaining it. Too often, people think that the moment something good arrives, they'll rise to the occasion. But the truth is, you don't become prepared overnight. You become prepared in the waiting season, in the moments when no one is watching, in the choices you make when you think they don't matter. Every decision you make today is shaping whether you will thrive when your moment comes. People say they want a healthy relationship, but are they cultivating the emotional intelligence and self-awareness to maintain one? People say they want a life-changing career opportunity, but are they developing the discipline, the skills, and the mindset necessary to handle the responsibility? The reality is that unprepared people often sabotage the very thing they once prayed for. They ask for something they are not equipped to handle, and when they receive it, they fumble it. The key difference between preparation and desperation is how you handle the waiting season. Desperation makes you anxious, impatient, and willing to compromise. It leads to over-explaining, over-pursuing, and overthinking. It convinces you that if you don't act fast, you'll miss your chance. But preparation allows you to move with calm confidence. It allows you to be selective rather than reactive. It reminds you that you are not in competition with anyone else because what's meant for you is already set aside for you. One of the most valuable things a person can do is focus on personal growth rather than external validation. Many people chase after things in the hope that they will fill a void within themselves. They look for relationships to heal their insecurities, for careers to define their worth, for external achievements to make them feel valuable. But when your sense of worth comes from something outside of you, you will always be at the mercy of losing it. True preparation is about becoming whole within yourself so that you attract from a place of strength, not need. It's easy to look around and feel like everyone else is moving faster than you. Social media makes it seem like people are effortlessly finding love, landing dream jobs, and living their best lives. But what you don't see are the moments behind the scenes, the preparation, the sacrifices, the lessons learned. Comparison is one of the greatest distractions from true preparation because it shifts your focus to someone else's timing rather than your own growth. Many people mistake movement for progress. They think that as long as they're doing something, anything, they're on the right track. But preparation isn't about busy work. It's about intentional work. It's about making decisions that align with your future self rather than just your present emotions. It's about being patient enough to build a strong foundation rather than rushing to construct something that will collapse under pressure. Desperation causes people to chase. Preparation allows them to attract. There's a fundamental difference between going after something out of fear and drawing it toward you because you are ready for it. People who are prepared move differently. They don't feel the need to prove themselves constantly. They don't over-explain their worth. They don't settle for half-hearted efforts. They walk in alignment with their values, knowing that what is meant for them will recognize them when the time is right. Letting go of the wrong to receive the right is one of the hardest yet most necessary steps in aligning with what is truly meant for you. So many people hold on to situations, relationships, and habits that no longer serve them, not because they don't see the damage, but because they are afraid of what will happen if they let go. The fear of the unknown, the fear of being alone, the fear of starting over, these fears keep people stuck in cycles that were never meant to last. But what if holding on is the very thing blocking the blessing that is trying to reach you? Imagine your hands are full, you're gripping onto something that feels familiar, something that once brought you comfort. But because your hands are occupied, there is no space to receive anything new. No matter how much you say you want better, you are physically unable to take it because you refuse to release what you've outgrown. Life operates in seasons, and what served you in one season may not be meant to follow you into the next. But if you don't make the decision to let go, you end up carrying dead weight, slowing yourself down, and missing opportunities that were meant for you. People often mistake longevity for compatibility. Just because something has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean it still belongs there. A relationship that once felt fulfilling may now feel draining. A job that once challenged you may now feel stagnant. A habit that once provided comfort may now be keeping you stuck. Growth requires the ability to recognize when something has served its purpose and when it's time to move forward. But instead of moving forward, many people cling to the past, convincing themselves that letting go means failure. Letting go is not failure, it's freedom. It's the courage to acknowledge that your worth is not tied to how long you can endure something that no longer aligns with you. It's the realization that what is truly meant for you will not require you to constantly fight for its place in your life. If something is causing more confusion than clarity, more pain than peace, and more exhaustion than excitement, it may not be the right fit for you anymore. And the longer you hold on, the more you delay the arrival of what truly is. People often ask for a sign when deep down they already know the answer. They pray for clarity, yet ignore the red flags. They ask for guidance, yet make excuses for why they should stay where they are. But ignoring the signs doesn't change the reality. If something is draining your energy, causing you to question your worth, or making you shrink yourself to keep the peace, that is your sign. The problem is not that people don't recognize the signs. The problem is that acting on them requires discomfort. Letting go requires facing uncertainty. It requires trusting that what is ahead is greater than what you are leaving behind, even if you don't see it yet. But too many people choose comfort over courage. They stay in places where they are tolerated rather than celebrated. They hold on to people who only meet them halfway, hoping that one day things will change. They replay memories of how things used to be rather than accepting how things are. And in doing so, they block themselves from the very thing they are asking for. There is power in release. There is power in walking away from anything that does not bring you peace, clarity, and purpose. There is power in realizing that you are not losing anything by letting go of what is not truly meant for you. But that power can only be accessed when you are willing to trust that empty hands create space for better things. When you remove what is weighing you down, you make room for what will lift you up. Every time you say no to what no longer aligns with you, you are saying yes to what does. Every time you close a door that leads nowhere, you allow another door to open. The process may not be easy, but it is necessary. Because the right things, the right people, the right opportunities, the right blessings cannot reach you while your energy is occupied by the wrong ones. Faith in the process is one of the hardest things to develop because it requires trust in something you cannot yet see. It's easy to believe when things are going well, when doors are opening, and when life is unfolding in your favor, but real faith is tested in the waiting season, in the moments of uncertainty, in the spaces where nothing seems to be moving. Most people struggle with faith not because they don't want to believe, but because they are conditioned to seek immediate results. When those results don't come in the time frame they expect, doubt begins to creep in. They start questioning whether they're on the right path, whether they misheard their calling, whether what they desire is even possible for them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that the absence of visible progress means nothing is happening. Just because you can't see the pieces coming together doesn't mean they aren't. Growth often happens in the unseen. Seeds don't sprout the moment they are planted. They take time to take root before they break through the soil. The same is true for life. Before you see the results of your efforts, before the manifestation of your desires becomes visible, there is work being done beneath the surface. The challenge is that most people give up in this unseen phase. They assume the silence means stagnation, and they walk away before the breakthrough arrives. Doubt is a natural response when things don't happen as quickly as you expect. But faith is not about the absence of doubt. It's about choosing to believe even when doubt is present. It's about understanding that your timeline and God's timeline are not the same. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it isn't going to. Too often people operate with a mindset of, if I don't see it now, it's never coming. This mindset leads to impatience, desperation, and ultimately settling for less than what was truly meant for them. Faith, on the other hand, says, even if I don't see it now, I trust that it's on its way. That shift in thinking changes everything. There's a difference between waiting with frustration and waiting with faith. Frustration says, why hasn't it happened yet? Faith says it's happening in perfect timing. Frustration causes people to rush, to force things, to grasp at anything that feels close to what they want. But faith allows people to move with confidence, knowing that what is meant for them will not pass them by. When you operate from a place of faith, you stop chasing. You stop trying to manipulate outcomes. You stop looking for shortcuts. Instead, you focus on becoming the kind of person who is ready for what is on its way. Many people think faith means sitting back and waiting for something to happen, but true faith is active. It's not about passively hoping for the best. It's about preparing for what you believe is coming. It's about showing up every day as if the breakthrough is already on its way. If you truly believed that the opportunity, the relationship, or the blessing you desire was coming, how would you act? Would you be doubting yourself? Would you be settling? Would you be wasting time on things that don't align with your vision? Faith in the process means behaving as if what you want is already yours. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to protect yourself from disappointment. But faith requires a different kind of thinking. It requires stepping outside of your comfort zone. It requires believing that you are worthy of what you desire. It requires trusting that even the setbacks, even the rejections, even the delays are part of the plan. What looks like a setback might actually be a setup for something greater. What feels like rejection might actually be redirection. But you won't see it that way unless you trust the process. The people who achieve what they desire are not always the most talented, the most connected, or the most privileged. They're the ones who refuse to give up in the waiting season. They're the ones who keep going even when nothing seems to be working. They are the ones who move forward with faith even when they don't have all the answers. Because faith is not about certainty, it's about trust. It's about knowing that even when things don't make sense, even when the road is unclear, even when the waiting feels endless, the process is working in your favor.